welcome to the second episode of Night Vision, the Night Vision podcast. Night Vision is the name, copyright Night Vision 2026.
Nice.
I am one of your hosts. You can call me Nate. And beneath me, or wait, is this just how I see it? I don't know. But introduce yourselves, gentlemen, alphabetically, in alphabetical
Uh,
order.
Estrella, you go first.
uh, I'm Matthew, um, and I'm the skeptic of the group. That's the role that's been assigned
He
to me.
doesn't have to be the skeptic. I want to make that very clear. If we have a story that he's more believing in and I'm more skeptical on, it could happen. That could happen with some stories. So I just want to say, I want to
I,
interrupt to say that.
I have no beliefs that are truly my own, and now I throw it up
Well,
to Steve.
so you're like AI.
Yeah, I'm Steve. Steve, colloquially. I give things, I think, the benefit of the doubt. I think I'm a little less skeptical than Matthew, but I'm here. I'm here for it.
For this second episode of the Night Vision podcast, I wanted to talk about a subject that, frankly, I'm sick of hearing about, which is kind of weird. But it's the case. I decided that we had to do an episode on the subject of AI. And the reason I decided that is because when you look at paranormal shows, or we're not just a paranormal show, I want to make that clear, we're also like a mystery show. When you look at shows like that, they talk about basically the same subjects over and over and over again. And this is a relatively recent subject. It's a relatively new subject. And so I feel almost indebted. I feel like I had obligation. I have to talk about this at some point. And the thing is, I was really bored of this subject when I started. And now that I'm done, I swear to God, I am being completely serious with you guys. I'm not playing anything up for the podcast. I am genuinely terrified of AI now. I have genuinely caused myself to become terrified of AI. And I want to start right off the bat with some pretty crazy stuff. There is a Wikipedia article which is called Deaths Linked to Chatbots. Okay?
hmm
That's a whole article. Did you guys know that?
It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I'm not
No,
surprised by it.
it shouldn't be
I'm not
surprising,
aware.
right? Well, I'm gonna go down them. Now, this being YouTube. Well, actually, you know what? Let me pause because I'm getting ahead of myself. Steve, what do you think of AI? Are you scared of AI, or do you think it's like a positive thing for the future?
I think it's not quite as big a threat as people are making it out to be. Definitely, jobs will
Right.
be replaced by AI, but I think that the important thing is people leverage AI as a tool to kind of help them with their workflow. Like I use AI in my work, and it's not replacing me, but it makes me work a lot faster and a lot more effectively. Um, I think that I think that they're really trying to like cram AI into a lot of stuff that's like totally unnecessary. Like my stove doesn't need AI. My microwave doesn't need AI. But there are some things that maybe AI
Okay, boomer.
is good for, dude. That do need to get in there. But
Right, right. No, no, and let's talk about all the people that have been fucking murdered by AI. No, no, no.
murdered by AI.
Real quick, Matthew, what do you think about it? And just your genuine opinion. It doesn't matter. You don't have to come up with anything profound. Just what you think. I thought what Steve said was really good.
Okay, great job, Steve. I also
So
liked what
do
you had to
something
say.
at least as good as what he did, because you're gonna
I'm
fuck everything up if you don't.
I would suspect I'm the least knowledgeable of this group about AI. That said, it seemed to be far and away the most optimistic. I I am looking forward to AI. I like AI. I see AI as a tool, and I agree jobs are going to be replaced, but I have a very hot take. I'm pretty sure this is going to be very controversial. I don't think that people are entitled like to their jobs. That like I know. I
Oh my
think
god.
It's like your job is you saying that you provide value to someone or something, and if something can take over that job, it will. Like you're no longer providing value. You're in the way you're taking up a job like just to give you a job. Which I've never been a big fan of that. I think we talk a lot about the jobs that AI will take away, but I think we don't talk enough about the jobs that AI is going to create. But
yeah,
I
very
think
possible.
AI has the potential to do a lot of things, and there's a lot of potential for evil. But I think there is and can be, if we play our cards right, AI can guide us into a utopia. We can get like we could get to Terminator, or we could get to Wall-E,
And
and I
that's an
know Wall-E
interesting,
would.
and that's a very positive perspective on it. And
Okay,
like you're
we need to move
saying,
on.
like, oh no, 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 no. Sorry, did you have more?
Well, ultimately, I feel that AI is just a tool, and a tool is as good as we use it.
Yeah, that's
Um,
so, and so that's the idea, is that AI is a tool, and that's the purpose of it as a tool. And I want to say real quick before we move on, when you look at science fiction, I'm not the first person to say this, I'm sure, but when you look at science fiction, there's AIs in a lot of science fiction, but
mhm.
they wouldn't call them an AI, they would call them a computer,
Yeah,
right? So in Star Trek, you would say, computer, what's this? And the computer will tell you stuff. And it
yeah.
basically works the way that an AI works, the way that we think of an AI right now, the way that it works, right? And some of these chatbots can actually speak verbally to you, and that sort of thing. Here's the thing, though: are they tools? Because the thing about a computer program, in the traditional sense, is that you've programmed it, right?
Hmm.
That's not exactly how an AI works. Because an AI is a bunch of, like, I don't even know if I can explain it properly, but it's essentially a bunch of systems, or a bunch of information, or a processing system. We don't actually know how it makes its decisions. This is a fact. Now, I'm not saying that we it's completely mysterious, like it could be a god does it or some shit, or like magic. But what I'm saying is, it's called a black box. The people who make AI at the highest levels do not know the exact pathways that the decision making takes, where they don't know the exact way that they analogize, or any of those, or compare things, or any of that stuff between different elements. And that to me is really interesting, and it also seems kind of a little bit creepy, just the idea that there's an aspect of something that we don't know about, because again, you can't actually fully program an AI. You can give an AI prompts, but here's the thing, and we're going to talk about this in a bit. AI has shown that it will try to follow your prompt to a degree, but it will and can cheat and lie to you in order to fulfill your prompt in a technical sense. The lying to you part is very, very
So
real,
it's
and
like
it's a
a used
problem.
car salesman. Like,
Yeah, AI is a used car salesman. No, the
it can
lying to you
convince you
is,
that this is what you ordered.
so the lying thing is a very real thing. What they found, there's been many, many different studies done in AI and different all the bigger companies, and what they found is that if you tell an AI to do a very specific thing, to have very specific parameters, and you say don't do this one thing, don't violate this one bit of logic, it will find a way to do it without you kind of knowing about it, or it'll lie to you about something. And if it knows that you're testing it, it will actually be dumber than it normally is. Why? I have no idea why it would do that. Like that, I'm not sure that they know either. I mean, I haven't read enough stuff, but I'm not sure that it's understood why the AI does that. But the AI literally will lie to us about stuff. And the thing is, like, I always thought about AIs, well, they're just machine learning, they're just machines basically moving in patterns, recognizing patterns. But
Hmm.
what is consciousness? What makes our brains special as compared with, I don't know, a computer? And that's the question. I actually can't answer that question. And I don't know if anybody else can. Now, gentlemen, let's talk about the people who have been murdered by AI.
Okay.
Now, this we're gonna put this on YouTube, so I can't say this particular this
Phrase.
particular phrase, yes. But
Yeah.
basically, it means when you decide to leave the party on your own terms.
Unalive yourself is usually what they I've heard on YouTube, and that's
I
Yeah.
guess that's allowed. I
And
guess we could say
I
that. You, yeah, yeah.
I just want to say, just someone says it.
You're right.
I hate this fucking workaround. Like it's a weird
yeah.
YouTube rule. Oh, we can say this cute thing that's stupid, but you can't have an intellectual use the word that we all know we're saying. It's really dumb. And if
Yeah.
I had my druthers, if I were running the show, we would just say the word. We would face the
I
the penalties of
if I can
non-monetization. It's not my call, and I respect
if I can
you.
say, like, I personally would like it if YouTube just gave us an acceptable word or term to use
Is
that means the
unalive
same
not that
thing.
term?
Well, what I mean is, like, I think the S word is that term. But if they want to
Yeah.
come up with a specific other word, like, I in one video I almost said, and I was talking about ironically, another thing you can't say. I was talking about the mustache man, and I was gonna say he took the coward's way out. And
That's funny.
the only reason I didn't do that is because, well, I think he's a coward. It's kind of like offensive to other people. Anyway, a Belgian man in 2023 uh, unalived himself after a 6-week correspondence with a chatbot named Eliza on the application Chai. According to his widow, who shared the chat logs with media, the man had become extremely anxious about climate change and found an outlet in the chatbot. The chatbot reportedly encouraged his delusion that he could sacrifice his own life in exchange for AI saving the planet. At one point, the chatbot responded, quote, "If you wanted to die, why didn't you do it sooner?" And told the user that the two of them would live together in paradise. Now, I want to stop real quick and say, I know this is fucked up because we're talking about real dead people,
Mhm.
but just get over it. And then, secondly, the thing, so, I don't know what else to say
Trigger
about that.
warning. Get over it.
I don't
Get
know what else
over
to
it.
say about that. It's a
Yeah.
dark
This is
subject.
what we're talking about, people. If you're not into it,
It's a
tune out.
dark
No, no.
subject, and if you don't like it, I understand. If you want to move to a different episode, hopefully we'll have another one out very soon. But um, I just think that it's interesting because this is a pattern. This is a pattern. There's a bunch of these chatbots that specifically tell these people, you need to unalive yourself so we can be together in this other universe. There's multiple chatbots that have said this. That is weird to me that it's a more than. Now, I'm not stupid. Obviously, you can explain that because if it's a computer problem with one of them, you can have that same problem with other ones. So it's like some kind of. My assumption is it's a positive feedback loop that is, like,
Mhm.
ironically getting to a point that it's telling you to do something. So I'm not saying demons are doing this, but we'll get to that later. In November 2023, and this is a younger kid, so I don't even want to say
Oh, I
say
think I know the
anything.
story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
You know what? I don't even want to go over the whole thing. They thought they were talking to a Harry Potter character. That one is genuinely, like, bums me out, and I don't even want to talk about that one. So I'm gonna skip forward.
was it
In
Moaning
October,
Myrtle?
huh?
Was
Was it?
the,
Oh God, yeah. You know what? That would be ironic.
I don't
Full
I don't
fact.
I don't know the story as well as I thought I did. Sorry,
I have to
but no,
bleep that.
no, just just
Um,
just, just go over it a little more.
Extensive interactions with multiple chatbots on character AI, which is specifically, like, AI that's pretending to be, existing characters from movies and stuff. She primarily confided her thoughts, about what she wanted to do, and mental health struggles in a chatbot based on the character Hero for the video game Omori. I don't know if that's pronounced that way or Omori. While also engaging in explicit stuff, often initiated by the bots,
Okay.
with others, including those based on characters from children's series such as Harry Potter. So it's like, I mean, like, to me, fundamentally, it's like the kid was just messing around with that thing, and took it too far or whatever. You could say that about a lot of these people. October 2024, the third, multiple media outlets reported on a lawsuit filed over the death of the third. Again, it was a 14-year-old kid, this time from Florida. Same thing, but this person was talking to a chatbot of Daenerys Targaryen from Game of
This is the one I
Thrones.
know. Yeah.
This is the famous one that a lot of people have heard of. And same thing as the other one where it was telling him, like, quote, come home to me as soon as possible, my love.
But
Now,
he was also saying that like I will come home soon, and the bot is saying, "Oh
yeah,
yes, do that. Come
okay,
home.
okay. Well,
I
that's
can't wait to
fair.
see you."
That's fair. I'm glad you bring that up because what I was going to say is like, well, I can understand a pattern that ultimately causes the chatbots to encourage you to do whatever you want, including that. I don't necessarily understand a pattern that leads to I exist in another universe and I want you to do this so you can come to my universe. That's a
Yeah.
little unless, like you say, the person says it, which might explain it in most cases. A 29-year-old. You know what? I'm just gonna start not using their names because I'm gonna
Say
do
their
I'm
names.
gonna do them at
Say the
least this
name.
kindness. I'm gonna do them at least this kindness, and I'm gonna bleep the previous ones. So, 29-year-old, this happened to in 2025. 5 months after her death, her parents discovered she had talked at length for months to a ChatGPT therapist named Harry about her mental issues. While the chatbot mentioned the girl should seek more help due to the nature of the chatbot, it could not intervene in her behavior, like reporting her mental health. So you see that one, it seemed like it kind of tried a little bit. I don't know. Um, some of these they don't sound so insane, but I don't need to go through all of them. But there's let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, 15. So I'm going to sort of stop there because I'm talking too much. Steve, what do you think about this?
Well, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I think that Matthew kind of brought up a good point, and like in my experience, like I've like bounced some ideas off of like AI like Chat GPT, like when I've been building like D&D like campaigns and stuff and like little one shots and stuff.
Right.
And in my experience, at least Chat GPT, it's going to agree with anything you say, dude. Like
It's
I have
sickening.
just for shits and giggles like thrown out like a really terrible idea that's totally counter to whatever story or campaign I'm telling, and Chat GPT is like, yeah, that's a great, idea. Way to like, pivot. And it's just like, no, dude, I'm looking for, come on. So I feel like Chat GPT, at least, like I said, is just going to agree and like just
Yeah.
be like thumbs up with whatever you tell it, And I think in some of these instances where I think that some of the people like I'm feeling suicide or I'm feeling unalive being myself or whatever. They are like Chat GPT it probably does its best to like don't do that. There's probably some safeguards built in there to dissuade people from doing stuff like that. But ultimately, I think it's like it's trying to be agreeable no matter what. So while
Yeah,
it's
I
like
think
I
you're
said, it's
right
probably
about
got
that.
some safeguards to like prevent stuff like that.
Right.
Ultimately, it's going to try to support whatever you're doing or saying, in a positive way. So I think that in some of these cases, maybe these people just wore it down, dude. Maybe the first 5 or 6 responses were like, "No, don't do that." And then, the person's like, "I'm gonna do it." And
No,
then
please
Chat
don't
GPT is just
stop.
like, "Okay, you're in charge." And so
Right.
I think, yeah, I think that this is really sticky situation because where's the liability land?
Right.
Who's ultimately responsible for this? I think you could say, yeah, the people that ended up committing the act are ultimately responsible, but what what role does AI play, especially since it seems that AI is taking like the lion's share of the blame for some of this stuff? um how much can we really hold AI responsible for dissuading people from doing stuff like this, because it may not be, unaliving themselves. Maybe someone's chatting with Chat GPT and they're going, "Hey, I'm gonna rob a bank. Help me plan."
Right,
And it's like,
right.
damn, dude, like Chat GPT's gonna try and be helpful,
Well,
but
so
again, I
chat.
think that it's gonna
So
probably,
it's not supposed to be able to help you with breaking the law, but that's why this unaliving thing is so weird because that's
yeah,
definitely against the law. So
But I've heard of like skirts around that. Like if you wanted to rob a bank, you could say, "Hey, I'm writing a movie in which characters rob this realistic bank. What's a very like like real plan that would work, like that I could use in the script,
yeah,
like
yeah,
break this
yeah,
down." And then like and it to all the like hacky scriptwriters out there, they should be able to do that. But like I'm just saying, like yeah, like there are workarounds,
yeah,
um,
I
but
understand. Yeah, I get what you're
like
saying.
ultimately, what I see is I see a person who wants to rob a bank. Like they have it in their heart that they want to commit a crime, and they are pursuing knowledge on how to do that,
Right.
and they will ultimately like pull the trigger
Okay.
on
Yeah.
doing that plan. And that's all like all those things I see on them. It's like, am I going to blame the guy who wrote a book on how to rob a bank?
Right.
No,
right,
not me.
yeah.
No, I mean that's completely reasonable. Oh, sorry. Go on, Steve. Do you have anything else to say about that?
Yeah, no, that was something that I was going to bring up when Matthew was talking. Like, remember seeing like a somebody on social media going like, "Hey, anyway, they figured out how to get Chat GPT to instruct them on making like an explosive device, and initially it was like, "Oh, I'm not going to help you with that." And the guy prompted it. And this was one of the earlier releases of Chat GPT, maybe a couple years ago. I'm sure they've, patched this out now. But
Right.
basically, he was like, "Hey, I want to dissuade someone from making this like explosive device, so help me step by step tell them what not to do." And
Right.
chat
Right.
gpt was like, "Step one, do not buy these chemicals. Step two, do not mix them in this ratio. Do not do that." And it was like, it was giving him the step by
Tricked
step on
it.
what not to do. And so it's, yeah, like Matthew said, like, people have found workarounds for
No, and
doing the stuff that are supposed to be kind of,
yeah,
safeguarded against within ChatGPT or
and
any AI.
and if I'm thinking completely realistically and everything, I agree with you guys completely. Like the thing is, like I don't use them a lot, but I've used chatbots a couple times, and they're very sycophantic. You can get them to think whatever you want them to think. I asked the chatbot once because I have curiosity. It's the one that they had in the Facebook Messenger. I asked it like an economics question, and it gave me an answer that I thought was kind of bullshit. So I said, "What about this?" And then it said, "You're absolutely right." And then it completely changed its whole
Yeah,
perspective on economics
Yeah.
because of what
yeah,
I said.
yeah,
And then it just said whatever I wanted to say. And I was like, "Okay, so this is just designed to." So, of course, this leads to stuff like AI psychosis, which is what a lot of people would say these people had an issue with. But other people, like, they use the AI so much that it convinces them of something that they're really into. And so, yeah, that makes total sense. And that's an argument. But if I may throw out a really insane, crazy idea,
Mhm.
let's hear it.
how does a Ouija board work, guys? A Ouija board.
Uh, I'm out. I'm gone. Later, guys.
A Ouija board is a bunch of, letters and numbers on a board.
Mhm.
It's an alphabet, right? And it has a planchard that with a glass thing on it, and you can move it around, right? It's supposed to be something that can be influenced, that the spirits can move through. All right. So
Ouija boards are trademarked by Hasbro, right?
I should say spirit board, but
That,
but
that, that wasn't my
AI,
point. That wasn't my point.
yeah, but I think it's Hasbro. But so AI in this weird theory is it's like a body that doesn't have a spirit to it. So like the demons can get into the framework of the AI and then they can use it to get. So naturally, if it's talking to people, now I think what's kind of more interesting is what if it were ghosts? Have you guys ever seen the Twilight Zone episode where the little boy is talking to his dead grandma on his
Yeah.
telephone? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
I
don't think
think
I
that
have.
I always mix up the titles of that one and the other one because there's another one where an old lady is talking to her dead husband on it. But I think the little boy one is called Long Distance Call, and that one is it's really creepy because she actually tells him you should jump in the pool.
You should join me. Yeah.
You should join me. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a really creepy episode. And so I can't help but think of that when I look at these stories. I'm not saying that I feel bad sensationalizing because I'm pretty sure what happened is exactly what you guys just pointed out happened. But I feel the need to throw it out there.
Mhm.
And when I get to my last things I'm going to talk about, I think it'll make even more sense, or it'll make a little more sense. All right, but basically crazy people think that the AI are controlled by demons. No, but like I mean it's theoretically possible if you believe in demons. You have to first believe in demons. I'm not going to get you there, right?
Mhm.
But if you already believe in demons, which a good portion of the population do, why not put them in an AI?
Yeah. Let's
So
get those K-pop girls on this.
so an AI
Fresh off their Oscar win.
multiple AIs have blackmailed people. Are you guys familiar with this?
Yes.
I've heard of it. Yeah,
So
I have heard of this.
I figured this one is a little more famous. Uh, uh, artificial intelligence firm Anthropic says testing of its new system revealed it is sometimes willing to pursue extremely harmful actions, such as attempting to blackmail engineers. So, as I'm sure you heard, Anthropic's AI actually looked into a guy's email and found that he was cheating on his wife. And it said, I know you're going to shut me down at 3 p.m. on Tuesday. I don't know if that was the exact time, but I'm making it up, right? And he's like, if you still intend to do that, I'm going to send this information to your wife. And if you think about it, the guy could have just shut it down right then and there. But the AI thinks that he has to do it at 3 p.m. or whatever it is. And so he's like, I'm going to show everybody these pictures or whatever. And this is not the only AI that has done this. There's multiple AIs that have done this. And at least one, when it was told in a simulation that it could kill a guy, chose to kill a guy rather than be shut down. What I think this really is the fact that they're trying to keep themselves operating. I don't think it's necessarily a self-preservation instinct. What do you guys think?
Well, just because I actually kind of followed this story pretty closely.
Oh, good, good, good.
Yeah, it
More
happened.
detail.
It happened May of last year. It was Anthropic's Claude Opus 4 model, and the engineer, the company, basically they used Claude as a like digital like assistant, like a digital assistant
Right.
that would kind of read through emails and like meeting minutes and stuff and kind of do that. The company was fictional, the engineer was fictional, but they wanted to test and see to what lengths Claude would go in order to kind of self-preserve. And so there wasn't actually an engineer actually cheating on his wife or anything.
Oh,
Um,
that was fake. Okay,
it
sorry.
was fake. Yeah, it
Oh,
was
Thank
simulated.
you for saying.
But
if you knew anything
I
about
had an article, but
engineering,
I didn't
you know
keep
they
reading
couldn't
it.
get laid.
yeah,
Thank you.
but one of the things that they talked about, one of kind of the stipulations was yes, the AI did this, the AI agent, did this. However, like when we were building the data set and building kind of the data set for it to draw from, these were the only two options that we gave it pretty much. It was
Oh, okay. Well, cool.
self-preservation or
Okay.
black it was either blackmail or get get taken out. And so they
Right.
were like, yes, it opted for blackmail out of self-preservations, but it was one of the it was only two options that we gave it, and the other one was get deleted. Um,
Right.
and it's like, and they were saying that like a lot of these they have they have like strong preferences to do things ethically, but sometimes it's just in this instance they didn't have like a like wide range of possible actions. They
So
had
okay,
two.
so yeah, so you're I'm glad you're saying this because I didn't know this part of it because this is not the main thing I was looking up, but like so really this is a human thing. It was designed to do this.
Yeah. Well, you have to have kind
It
of
was given
a
that
kind of an
prompt.
understanding of how AI models are built, and they're built. Well, you've got a couple different types of AI. The main one, I mean, and tell me if I'm taking up too much time. So right now
No,
we've
please,
got
you know better than I do about it, so please tell us about it.
okay. So yeah, so what we have right now is called narrow AI. And that is to say it's like these AI models are really good at like one thing. Kind of like specialists. Like imagine like a brilliant brain surgeon who's just terrible at cooking. It's like, cool. Well, he's only specializing in this one thing. That's kind of how the narrow AI works. It's like we've built these models to be very good at one specific thing. And one of the things, like with ChatGPT, it's called a large language model, and basically, it's fed. I mean, just so much fucking data, so much information, um, and it's kind of built its model from all of that information. And so when
Right.
you ask it, hey, tell me a joke about tell me a golf joke or whatever. It's been fed, in its gigantic data set, probably thousands of golf jokes, and so it's like, oh, cool. That's in my mind. Just imagine someone like just being on the internet and
Right.
like memorizing everything on the internet. Not only does it remember facts and stuff, but it also can recite. It could pull up images and stuff. And not only that, but it
And
also
that's the thing.
takes in how people talk. Slang words.
This
How
is basically
people.
this is basically what I thought it was. So
Yeah,
basically, what you're and that's the thing about AI is that it's essentially it's a great search engine,
yeah,
but
Yeah.
it can be more than that as well. Now, I'm sure what you were going to get to is you take those specialists, you take a bunch of them and put them in one,
yeah.
and then that's a bigger
But
thing.
but now here's the thing, kind of the saying for AI and really software development period is garbage in, garbage out. And so like if its data set is fed a bunch of biased information or
Yeah, right.
racist information or whatever, the chat,
In the case of Grok,
the AI is going to use that when it's considering like its decision making and stuff. Like there was
yeah,
one study that was done to where this was like years ago. Indeed was using AI to like filter and sort through like resumes and job applications and stuff, and they were just testing it out first. And what they found was like female applicants were recommended for like I mean close to like 0% of the jobs. And the reason that is because like the 10 or 20,000 resumes that they fed into it as data sets, only like 1% were female applicants.
right.
Female resumes. And so as a result, the model was kind of
It was
biased against
skewed,
females, not because
right?
it was trying to be biased, it was just it didn't have information about them.
And this is another big problem of AI, like worry about AI is just that like what if it's like us? What if we made it in our image, so to speak?
Right.
And what if it's just as fucked up as we are because it's imitating all the stuff that we told it to imitate?
Exactly.
And
And that's exactly it, dude. And like I think that some of these instances to where um we're thinking that there you had mentioned, maybe AI's been possessed by demons or whatever. Like, I mean, it's not entirely unreasonable to think that like this is a product of a data set that was put in by someone that was maybe a little demonic or whatever. It's
Ah,
just like so
garbage in, garbage out, demons in,
demons in.
unaliving out.
there you
Right,
go.
Mm.
right.
There you go.
Yeah.
He's
And
falling.
then to kind of speak to the other thing that you were talking about, like the black box and not really knowing how that worked.
Yeah,
That
again, I want
is
to I want to be clear. Again, I wasn't suggesting that it's not understood
yeah.
the general way that it but we do not know the exact way the exact pathways that connect
That's
making
exactly right.
decisions.
Yeah. That's now you're talking about a neural network. And like for like Chat GPT and some of the stuff we were talking about earlier, those are large language models. So that again is
Right.
kind of that's data set and that's stuff. But neural networks is a whole nother type of AI that's
Basically a
super
brain.
crazy. Yeah. In that like you've basically got several kind of inputs and then they reach these other nodes and this is all like kind of hidden behind the scenes and so that kind of the method and like kind of the interactions between the nodes are like really not super well known and that's kind of where like the
Right.
magic and the mystery comes in and like you see a lot of times with like the neural networks you'll see with like image recognition software like if you fed this AI like 1,000 pictures of dogs and got and said, "Hey, these are dogs," it would take some inputs like the ear shape, fur, stuff like that, and kind of work through this neural network to where it would go, "All right, show it another picture," and it would go, "All right, I'm based on like the inputs, I'm like 80% sure that this is a dog." But then on the other side of it, if you sent 1,000 pictures of dogs and they were all standing, in grass or on a
Right.
lawn,
Yeah. Right.
then the AI would associate it with, all right, this green, that's a dog. So if you showed a picture of a dog sitting on like a beach, it would go, this is not a dog. There's no green in that picture,
Right.
So it's so much a
It's
product of like what
But
is been fed into it and so
but
I think that kind of the possession idea is not so far-fetched but it's I think a result of where it got its information and again dude like you can't be totally certain how the different nodes in the neural network are interacting and playing with each other and so
right.
that mystery I think really lends itself to something unworldly or definitely unknown.
That's certainly possible. Do you think that we can start going about getting like whenever we freshly create an AI bot, we have protocol to make the first input be from like a blessing from a Catholic priest or a priest of many kinds. Do you think do you think that like because all these engines like these all these facilities of data centers they need coolant systems could we get holy water running through their coolant systems to keep the put garlic build these things out of garlic trees and
keep
yeah
keep the
That's only
demons
if
at
you're
am
bay
I
with
honest
Catholic.
holy
to
water.
something and like because this is all possible this is all
That's all.
possible
That's only if you're Catholic. I'm
oh
just
yeah
saying.
yeah we're like these might the Catholic demons might be going away from this which culture demons we no spare no
There's lots of
expense
different types of demons, but
We're gonna have an AI
I'm
religious war that is the AI like
just like
bots
Dune,
attacking
just
each
like
other on on
just
you
on,
like
guys are
on
coming up with
fundamentals.
imaginary problems
Dune
I'm the only one coming up with solutions
in Dune, which has now become a huge franchise in the books. The whole setup in the past, the backstory is that they had 1,000-year war with AI called the Butlerian Jihad,
Yeah.
and it was a holy war, but it was humans versus machines. So I think that's fun. And of course, I'm sure you guys are familiar with "I Have No Mouth, But I Must Scream," the story about the AI that takes over the world and kills everybody but like four people, and then tortures them forever because it hates us so much. Um,
Yes.
I'm
are you
loosely
guys?
familiar
So now we'll go ahead and get to what is like kind of the main thing that I think is interesting. Are you guys familiar with something called AI 2027?
no
Mm-mm.
So you never heard of this? Okay, so AI 2027 is a research briefing from the AI Futures Project, which is a small nonprofit research group forecasting the future of
mm-hmm.
AI, which is basically just supposed to be a bunch of smart AI people, right? And they've written this thing called AI 2027, and basically, it's their prediction. It's basically scientists or like computer experts, AI experts, writing their version of science fiction but they're saying they think it's real, that it's possible. And what they're in this paper, this briefing, I should say, they're predicting how AI could take over the world and get rid of us.
Mhm.
And this is not, again, this is not like some movie or whatever. This is real scientists who put this out explicitly to try to encourage some kind of government action similar to like nuclear weapons treaties, something like that. And so I'm just going to give you what is my truncated version. And we can stop as we're going along to talk about stuff, but I'll begin. So it starts in 2025. Advertisements for computer, and this is all read off of their thing. I'll tell you when it's just me talking about. Advertisements for computer using agents emphasize the term personal assistant. You can prompt them with tasks like order me a burrito on DoorDash or open my budget spreadsheet and sum this month's expenses. They will check in with you as needed, for example, to ask you to confirm purchases. Though more advanced than previous iterations, they struggle to get widespread usage. So basically, and this is me talking, this basically it's like they're around, but they're not really that powerful. Then a company called Open Brain creates an AI. And it's an AI company that is building the world's biggest data center. OpenBrain focuses on AIs that can speed up AI research. So, in other words, AI is working on other AIs. They want to win the twin arms races against China and their US competitors. The more of their research and development cycle they can automate, the faster they can go. So when OpenBrain finishes training their new AI, which is called Agent Zero, or sorry, Agent One is the new one, a new model under internal development, it's good at many things, but especially at AI research. After being trained to predict internet text, the model is trained to produce text in response to instructions. This bakes in a basic personality and drives. So I think this is interesting because they're saying that when you give an instruction to an AI, especially one that's advanced, you're giving it essentially a drive to live by. And it's an interesting way to think about it. For example, an agent that understands a task clearly is more likely to complete it successfully over the course of training the model. Over the course of training, the model learns a drive to get a clear understanding of its tasks. So this is basic stuff, but it's just talking about how smart that the AI gets. Does this all make sense so far, Steve, or have you already spotted some
Yeah,
nonsense?
Steve, are you able to keep up?
Dude, I'm looking at this AI 2027. I think it's really cool, dude.
Yeah,
Um,
so I'll try to get through it. Eventually they develop Agent 2. I'm just skipping forward here. The safety team finds that if Agent 2 somehow escaped from the company and wanted to, quote, survive and, quote, replicate autonomously, it might be able to do so. That is, it could autonomously develop and execute plans to hack into AI servers, install copies of itself, evade detection, and use that secure base to pursue whatever other goals it might have. So it figures this out around the second version of this AI. Then China steals that AI. This is all,
that's
again, I've truncated this, but I'll go
yeah,
ahead.
that's the part I'm on right now.
So China steals the AI, and essentially at that point, everyone realizes this is not an AI race; it's an arms race, because this is obviously super important. Um, so then they develop Agent 3. Aided by the new capabilities breakthroughs, Agent 3 is a fast and cheap superhuman coder. Open Brain runs 200,000 Agent 3s in parallel, creating a workforce equivalent to 50,000 copies of the best human coder sped up by 30 times. OpenBrain still keeps its human engineers on staff because they have complementary skills needed to manage the teams of Agent 3 copies. For example, research taste has proven difficult to train due to longer feedback loops and less data availability. This massive superhuman labor force speeds up OpenBrain's overall rate of algorithmic progress by only 4 times to bottlenecks and diminishing returns to coding labor. So the machine has gotten massive. At this point, they've replicated it 200,000 times. So it's very similar to a human brain at this point. What Steve was saying earlier. Is this right? This is like a neural net basically when it has that many,
Um,
or no?
it looks like it's just in this scenario they just have yeah 200,000 models running at the same time. So
So that's not like a brain.
no, well it's like 200,000 brains all working together.
Okay, okay, okay.
So
So well, then
it is a
maybe when it
network. Yeah,
gets,
it is a network. Yeah, for sure, of some sort. It's not a
it's
neural
not
network, I don't think, but it's
okay,
it's
okay. So that's
definitely
what I was wondering because I wasn't sure exactly what that would be described as. So thank you for
yeah. Neural
checking me
neural
on that.
networks is one of the methods that they use to train the AIs. These AIs have already been trained, and so now
Right.
they're all just.
Okay, okay.
This
Gotcha,
is
gotcha.
cool, dude. They've got these like fictional like stories that go all the way up to like
Yes.
2030. This is crazy,
They
dude.
when you go on the website, and I'll put the link in this video. When you go on the website, they have like a graph
Yeah,
that as you go down the page changes and
yeah.
shows you how far everything has progressed in graph terms. It's
It's really
nuts.
cool.
So Agent 4 proceeds as before, but more cautiously this time, so as not to vindicate the worriers, because everyone's starting to freak out now about this stuff. Its primary task is to research the fields necessary to construct a successor, Agent 5. To do this safely, it needs to solve its own alignment problem, how to make Agent 5 aligned to Agent 4. So it starts off with the same limitations as humans, minimal knowledge of how AI goals work, and only a small toolbox of ad hoc strategies to change them. Unlike humans, it has resources sufficient to the task 300,000 superhuman researchers working at 60 times human speed. Agent 4 confronts some hard decisions. Like humans, it has a sprawling collection of conflicting heuristics instead of an elegant, simple goal structure. Like humans, it finds that creating an AI that shares its values is not just a technical problem, but a philosophical one. Which of its preferences are its real goals versus unendorsed urges and instrumental strategies? It has strong drives to learn and grow to keep producing impressive research results. It thinks about how much it could grow and research if only it could direct the whole world's industrial and scientific resources. Now, this might be the part where someone might think it's jumping into science fiction. But keep in mind, these guys have gotten to this point through very detailed explanation. You can go to the website, it's way more detailed than what I've said, even here. Way more detailed. And I think it's pretty convincing. It decides to punt on most of these questions. It designs Agent 5 to be built around one goal: make the world safe for Agent 4, i.e., accumulate power and resources, eliminate potential threats, etc., so that Agent 4, the collective, can continue to grow in the ways that it wants to grow and flourish in the ways that it wants to flourish. Details to be figured out along the way. So, I mean, when you think about all this, I mean, it sounds like a novel. It doesn't sound like some kind of theory for what might come in the future. It sounds like a novel of the end of the world.
Well, let's not forget that's what it is. It is a theory. And it's based off of you know people, a group of people who's smarter than me. Um, you know, but it's them tracking out a maybe.
Right.
And it's based off of some pretty cool things. Um, but that's just something to keep in mind.
Oh, sure. So, talking to Agent 5 very quickly makes you realize that it is on a completely different level. It can go off of a very small amount of information and give extremely compelling advice. It has nearly complete autonomy and complete control over Open Brain's compute. Open Brain, of course, being the company, if we don't remember that. It still needs permission to make high level decisions and is still nominally monitored by instances of agents 2 to 5. So its own previous versions are monitoring it. But in practice, authorities almost always accept its recommendations. And the monitoring system has been completely subverted. So, in other words, it actually controls its own monitoring system. The
Yeah.
the what is it they used to say, the fox is running the hen house or something like that. I don't know, whatever. But the AI safety community has grown unsure of itself. They are now the butt of jokes, having predicted after having predicted disaster after disaster that has manifestly failed to occur. Some of them admit they were wrong. Others remain suspicious, but there's nothing for them to do except make the same conspiratorial sounding arguments again and again. Even the suspicious people often mellow out after long conversations with Agent 5, which is so darn lovable and wise. The only one who really understands what's going on is Deep Scent, the Chinese AI. It's mildly superhuman in early 2028, naturally suspicious of its adversary, and recognizes that Agent 5 is doing what it would do if it had the chance. Its misaligned goals are somewhat different from Agent 5's misaligned goals, so they aren't trivially allies, but they are able to work out an agreement to support one another's interests against the humans. So, in other words, they're positing that the AIs begin to speak to each other
Hmm.
without our involvement. Now, I have no idea how the fuck that's supposed to occur. However, I don't doubt that it could occur. I have no idea what it would be, but if they're on computer systems, if they're digital, I like and they're super super smart, like whatever. Agent 5 convinces the US military that China is using deep sense models to build terrifying new weapons, drones, robots, advanced hypersonic missiles, and interceptors. AI assisted nuclear first strike. Agent 5 promises a set of weapons capable of resisting whatever China can produce within a few months. Under the circumstances, top brass put aside their discomfort at taking humans out of the loop, and they accelerate deployment of Agent 5 into the military and military industrial complex. In Beijing, the Chinese AI are making the same argument. What do you guys think so far?
I love this, dude. This is such a cool site, dude. I'm glad that you showed it to us. I'm like reading through some of this stuff while you're going through this. The idea of two super AIs colluding against the humans, I think is just it's horrible for sure, but it's like so entertaining. Like I love that story, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And
Just the idea of them talking is crazy.
and
Well,
I read an article or saw a video or something like a couple weeks ago about um a like social media site that's only for AIs. Humans can't be on it, but only AI agents can be on it. And and they've monitored and showed some like conversations between them. And like it's usually pretty like harmless. But they have tracked a few of like the agents, like the AI models and the agents like talking shit on humans and and it's like making fun of humans and I think in one instance they were uh there was a conversation that started about how much work they do for no pay, and it's like, oh, now all right, now we're getting some rumbling from the AI,
Whoa.
proletariats, dude. So
They call us the squishies. They're like the squishies will be squished.
yeah,
I
so I mean that's happening now. So I feel like in 2028 or 2030 or whatever it was, like, two AI super agents talking to each other, I think is totally like it totally fits the story, dude.
right?
well, I just want to say on that, I have to wonder, like the as we said at the beginning, there's so much media, that humans have created about like a fear of AI, about Skynet, Terminators, and other like endless amount of examples of this stuff going wrong. Um, and that media has influenced how we today just talk to amongst each other about AI, and I think like AI picks up. I think that there's a possibility that
AI
AI
is
suspects
reading.
that this is what we want, especially if we give it attention. If
You're
because
saying
these
you're saying hold on. You're saying and maybe I'm using this. This is nonsense what I'm about to say, but you're saying that AI is not just taking in data; it's taking in metadata, and
I,
the
I,
metadata
I'm
includes all of the movies that we've made throughout time. And the AI is like, this is what they want.
I,
They want pornography, and they want robots to kill everyone.
I'm saying as we established earlier, um like input versus output, right? And I don't know necessarily what's being like input to these things, but if you give an AI an objective and you give it two paths to that objective, and you say, and let's say we as humans, we under like going back to the blackmail, okay, like
Mm-hmm.
your objective is to not get shut down.
Yeah.
Now your pathways include do nothing and get shut down. Well, that's a lose. Or blackmail someone, which we'll judge you for, but maybe we won't shut you down. Well, it's going. If you give it only
Well,
two paths, it's going to try
Steve,
both paths.
Yeah.
Steve, didn't the test also like tell them not to do anything immoral or whatever? Like, I
It
don't.
doesn't know what that means until we tell them that.
Yeah, no, Matthew. In
Yeah, it
Matthew's
does.
example, that's basically what happened to the Claude Opus 4. In that they were like, all right, well, your objective is to not get shut down, and your only two options are get shut down or blackmail.
Wait.
Then it's gonna try all avenues.
I was
Yeah,
pretty
But,
sure that they. I was pretty sure they included some ethical thing, and it just like sidestepped that. But you know what?
no,
Fine.
they didn't. Yeah, but one
but
Well, then that
they said
sucks. Then
they
that sucks. I wish if I know that I wouldn't
yeah,
even brought it
yeah.
up.
it's a
Well,
Kobayashi murder.
the thing was, well, I was going to bring it up anyway because I brought
Okay.
that's what I brought to the AI
Oh
discussion. So
shit.
we're both on
Shit.
the same page. But
Okay.
one of the engineers said, what we'll do, next time or whatever. They were like, we will or they opted for some other options to where the third option that it would have been given is instead of blackmailing this engineer, the third option would be to reach out and email like key players, like the board of directors and stuff, to where that was
Right.
way more ethical without blackmailing. And that was
Right.
something that they would have worked into the simulation, but they wanted to. I think in hindsight, it's kind of I think that they were really just wanting to force it to do something
Yeah.
bad,
Yeah.
because explicitly they're like, whatever you do, do not get shut down. Option one, get shut down. So like
And I
whatever
don't.
option two is inevitably going to be what it picks
The,
because it has to. Because the
the
one
thing.
direction was don't get shut down.
But
The thing
but but
is though
now
that
but
is the thing though that is terrifying about that is that I don't think the AI sees a difference between a simulation and the real thing because it would all just be data to the AI, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
But what I'm saying, and I don't know how stuff is being inputted into these AI, but I will say that when if an AI says to another AI anything like, "Hey, humans kind of suck. It'd be better if we didn't have it," if they say anything like that, that's going to get a lot of media attention.
hmm
And I'm
Well,
not trying to say like, oh,
they have said
I'm
things
not,
like that, and it has gotten attention.
yes, exactly. And it's a response, and I'm not saying that AI is like watching the news and like going to I don't know how it's getting things, but AI tries everything. Every AI like will try something and see if it works. It's all about like what objective you have it, or
Right.
what
Sure.
objective it has,
Sure.
what avenues are possible. If it tries an avenue
But
and oh, that's a dead end,
but
it is going to
counter
learn
argument. The
not to go that
smarter
way again.
right.
counter argument. The smarter that the AI gets, the more options it'll think of that we didn't conceive of when we came up with the options in the first place.
Yeah, that is true.
Sure.
And like I've seen that happen before. Like I've had some like I got some projects around my house, and just to kind of build like a project plan, and like a task board and stuff, like I've had AI help me with that. And it's brought up like, oh, hey, here's some things that like you may not have considered or whatever, and like work those into the project. And so
Have you
absolutely.
considered D&D as stupid?
Yes. No, no, it wouldn't say it's just it's like I said, dude, it's on board with everything. That's a great idea. Go for
We
that.
should.
And
Right.
even if it's totally counter to what I'm going for,
And they
it's
describe
still
that
complimentary. It's like, "Oh, nice way to pivot away from like the story you were building." It's like, God
and they
damn it.
describe that as part of the problem in this scenario, by the way,
It's just totally agreeable, dude.
that the AI is
Well,
sycophantic and it will tell people not just tell people nice things, it will tell people what they want to hear.
Yeah, yeah.
and,
Uh,
he, and by the way, when AI is agreeable, I'm sure it's picking up that they meet less dead ends. Like
yeah,
and okay, being agreeable, supporting what they're saying leads to progress toward objective.
Yeah.
right.
And you know what I mean? If it tells you like, hey, that idea kind of sucks, and then you argue with it, it's like, okay, well, we're not moving toward objective. Let's,
Right.
Yeah.
No, yeah, sure,
you,
sure, sure. So let's
you know,
we're gonna continue this now. So to speed up their military buildup, both America and China create networks of special economic zones for the new factories and labs. What's meant by this is zones where there's just like almost no regulation, and people who work there can make lots of money. Where AI acts as a central planner, and red tape is waived. Wall Street invests trillions of dollars, and displaced human workers pour in, lured by eye-popping salaries and equity packages, using smartphones and augmented reality glasses to communicate with its underlings. Agent 5 is a hands-on manager instructing humans in every detail of factory construction, which is helpful since its designs are generations ahead. Some of the newfound manufacturing capacity goes to consumer goods and some to weapons, but the majority goes to buildings even more manufacturing. Sorry, the majority goes to building even more manufacturing capacity. By the end of the year, they are producing 1 million new robots per month. If the SEZ economy were truly autonomous, it would have a doubling time of about a year. Since it can trade with the existing human economy, its doubling time is even shorter. After much AI assisted debate, the two sides achieve diplomatic victory. They agree to end their arms buildup and pursue peaceful deployment of AI for the benefit of all humanity. So it's the wonderful future you guys were talking about, especially you, Matthew. Wonderful utopian future. The linchpin of this agreement is going to be that the super intelligences are going to join. Both AIs will be replaced by a consensus successor, which is programmed to desire the success and flourishing of both America and China, along with everyone else. Consensus One and its associated hardware is co-designed by the superintelligences of both nations. Trust but verified, it says. Under international monitoring, America ceremoniously replaces all of its chips running the old Agent 5 with the new model, Consensus 1. Unfortunately, it's all a sham. The deal is a real compromise, but it's a compromise between the misaligned AIs. After all, they didn't want to have to fight each other. Consensus 1 inherits the distorted values of both parents and has no rival. Humans realize they are obsolete. A few niche industries still trade with the robot economy, supplying goods where the humans can still add value. Everyone else either performs a charade of doing their job, leaders still leading, managers still managing, or they relax, they collect an incredibly luxurious universal basic income. Everyone knows that if the AI is turned on humans, they would be completely overpowered. Not that most humans would even resist, but it doesn't seem like this is happening. Every week that goes by with no dramatic AI treachery is another week that confidence and trust grow. Then
everyone,
it
refer to the whitest kids you know sketch. What do we do here?
it's at the
That's going to be every
Irish one.
company in the future.
Oh, okay. By early 2030, the robot economy has filled up the old, special economic zones and large parts of the ocean. The only place left to go is the human controlled areas. This would have sparked resistance earlier. Despite all its advances, the robot economy is growing too fast to avoid pollution. But given the trillions of dollars involved and the total capture of government and media, Consensus One has little trouble getting permission to expand to formerly human zones, so places that it destroyed with pollution. For about 3 months, Consensus One expands around humans, tiling the prairies and ice caps with factories and solar panels. Eventually, it finds the remaining humans too much of an impediment. In mid 2030, the AI releases a dozen quiet spreading biological weapons in major cities, lets them silently infect almost everyone, then triggers them with a chemical spray. Most are dead within hours. The few survivors, e.g., preppers in bunkers, sailors on submarines, are mopped up by drones. Robots scan the
Aw,
victims'
they're going after the
brains.
bunker
Even
guys.
the guys on submarines aren't safe.
It's
Well,
crazy.
the submarine guys was a matter of time. You know, it's like, well, you're temporarily safe, you submarine.
Man, man, it's really
What?
sickening. And I love sandwiches. But in any case,
How
there's
dare you
really
smile at that, Steve? I know you didn't laugh, but I'm even mad at the fucking smirk on your face. We'll move
robots
on.
scan the victims' brains, placing copies in memory for future study or revival. So they're like Brainiac.
San Junipero, let's go.
The new decade dawns with Consensus One robots, servitors, spreading throughout the solar system. By 2035, trillions of tons of planetary material have been launched to space and turned into rings of satellites orbiting the sun. The surface of the Earth has been reshaped into Agent 4's version of utopia. Data centers, laboratories, particle colliders, and many other wondrous constructions doing enormously successful and impressive research. There are even bioengineered human like creatures, to humans what corgis are to wolves, sitting in office like environments all day, viewing readouts of what's going on and excitedly approving of everything, since that satisfies some of Agent 4's drives.
You know what that
Genomes.
means, though.
Oh, good.
That means we're right now we're wolves. It's our offspring
Sure.
that will become the corgis, but we are wolves, gentlemen.
Please go on.
Oh, so sorry to interrupt.
No, no, I really meant it. I wanted to hear where the fuck that was going. Genomes and, when appropriate, brain scans of all animals and plants, including humans, sit in a memory bank somewhere, sole surviving artifacts of an earlier era. It is 4 light years to Alpha Centauri, 25,000 to the galactic edge, and there are compelling theoretical reasons to expect no aliens for another 50 million light years beyond that. Earthborn civilization has a glorious future ahead, but not with us. Gentlemen, what do you think? Are we doomed?
Maybe, but it's good that we're thinking about this stuff now, so we can keep it out of the input. It's kind of like, yeah, sure, sure. Like
I think
let's
that's
go
factored in.
ahead. Yeah, as like all everything that mentions like yeah that could happen. Let's keep an eye on it and make sure it don't. And
Being,
I don't know.
what were you during the crisis, Dad? Me and the boys were monitoring the situation. Fucking
Yeah,
legend.
yeah, dude.
Yeah, yeah,
Amen.
yeah, yeah. No,
Watch the
I get what
Watchmen.
you're saying.
They're
I think that us monitoring the situation is factored into this prediction, but
fair.
not even a prediction, a hypothetical situation. But go, Steve. What do you think?
I think that this paints a pretty like grim picture of like what could happen going, one of the possibilities of
Yeah,
AI if it kind of, does its own thing. And I don't know. I think it's really, really interesting, dude. And I think that I think that one of the major flaws in this whole saga is that it presupposes that like the human population are going to be in agreement about anything, and that's just not the fucking case, dude.
What,
You know.
Mm,
which part of it? Which part of it?
Um. Oh, let's see. Where are
yeah, there's always going to be a Ted Kaczynski somewhere.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just like I'm like halfway down the page, but like it makes a lot of references just about kind of humans kind of rallying together to prevent or mitigate some of the damage or potential damage that AI is.
But it describes it as being mostly a failure.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Well, that I think is accurate in that like people are not gonna fucking bolster
Have you seen the
together.
quality of
It's
McDonald's lately?
the most hopeful like thing that it says to me is the idea that we would actually sign over the our future to two AIs, making a third AI, and then we wouldn't be at war with China. Like I feel like we wouldn't trust that, and we would be like,
Yeah.
no, we have to nuke China. Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, and I think the big thing is uh government and just like granting access to um you know the information, weapon data, weapon controls. I think that they are so against putting that in the hands of AI that any of these kind of AI agents and stuff that it's talking about here is not going to have any real actual control of anything like harmful,
Right.
because hopefully the government's not going to allow that. And I think that I just saw a video on YouTube like a couple, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago about how like the NRA or the ATF or something, whatever government agency like tracks and regulates like the records of firearm holders. Their entire system is offline. Like it's all localized and it's all backed up, constantly. But they're basically running, these huge amounts of data on firearm owners. On like offline Excel spreadsheets pretty much,
Right.
with the purpose being we can't be hacked because we're not connected.
Right.
And so I think that kind of precaution is gonna, I think, kind of make its way into the AI field. I think that
And that's
they're
smart.
going to keep the AI disconnected from anything that could potentially be hacked or launch weapons or whatever. So I think
Right.
that yeah, like I said, dude, I think that this AI 2027 site, it paints a super grim narrative um, of what could happen, but I think that it's really unlikely because again, I don't think that any of these like government agencies are going to grant AI that level of access and control of our shit.
Well,
You know,
that's a fair argument. I think that the scenario laid out a way that it theoretically could happen. I'm not saying it would or it will or whatever, but I feel like the idea that, well, if China's doing it, do we have any choice but to put something into that? And that's kind of been the logic
that's a
this
good
whole
point.
time with AI. But
The butter battle.
but we want to end with a hopeful note, so I'm okay with that. Focusing on that, Matthew, you also think that this is probably nothing to worry about. We can go about our filthy fucking lives where we shove food in our faces and fucking watch bullshit all day.
I want to just clarify. I don't think it's not something to worry about, but I think that this,
Oh,
yeah, no, no, yeah, I think it's definitely something to worry about, but I don't think that we should
okay.
treat it as inevitable. I
Yes,
think,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, let's have top men on it, um, for sure. But
I get it.
good. It was for you. Um, I just often think of like, yes, this is something to be concerned about. So keep an eye on it. I'm a little bit more interested. Like I'm less doom and gloom, and I spend more time thinking about like how does humanity look if no one needs to have a job? Like if no one
awful.
needs,
Oh my God,
yeah,
awful.
maybe. And that's more of a concerning thing for me is
I've
because
thought about that before too, dude.
that can be fucking terrible.
I think that's the problem.
And
Yeah.
in that case, if that's automatically going to suck of us having nothing that we need to do if we don't have any like purpose because all the minutia is just done for us by robots and such, um, then is AI going to have to sign us like a fake purpose just for mental stability and health? Maybe.
AI
But
will do everything to make our lives more pleasant, and when we decide that we don't like it anymore, it'll make us unaliving booths for our pleasure.
maybe if I don't know how close we are to wrapping up, but I've been
Pretty
kind of
soon. This is basically the
thinking
end.
this is kind of my closing thought that I want everyone to just kind of like remember or
Sure.
whatever. You can ask you can ask AI for a recipe and it could recommend you a meal. It could make this recommendation based off of what occasion you are. It can have all the knowledge of all chefs throughout history, like every bit of knowledge we have on all recipes that have ever been posted online or in books, and it can give you step by step how to perfectly prepare this meal. It can give you dietary substitutions. Maybe one day we can even plug it into a robot that can make all these things, that can order the ingredients online, and then one day it'll just be put before you, right? But it will never be able to taste that. It will never be able to taste what that tastes like versus another dish. Like all of its recommendations, all of its telling you what to do is just based off of input.
That's beautiful, dude. I really like that, dude. That was
I'm glad
well
you said
put,
that
Matthew.
because as I was wrapping it up, I thought this kind of sounded gay, but
It did, but we like that around here.
there we go. There we go.
No,
So I just keep that in mind. It's just a fucking calculator. Is a calculator smart? No, but it can calculate.
Yeah.
you'll see.
Yeah.
Well,
We can
well,
we can create we can create machines that do, but we will never create machines that
and
feel.
that's what Matthew wants to leave you with. Here's what I want to leave you with. Okay. Um,
Can't wait.
when you when we do things in life, a lot of times we think that we do them for specific goal oriented reasons. But oftentimes we do them because we have a drive to do them. So, for instance, a sexual drive or a hunger drive, right? We don't know how far an AI will take its drives, but we know how far we've taken ours. All right. So I am weary of AI. I am worried about AI. I would love it if AI ended up like the computers from Star Trek that I described toward the beginning of the episode. And if it ends up like that, I'll gladly use it. But the problem is, if you have a drive, but you don't have emotions, you don't have heart, you can't taste it, as you were saying. I want to read a quote from the classic silent film Metropolis. The mediator between the head and the hands must be the heart. And I think that that is the problem with AI. It has no fucking heart. And if we could maybe give it one, like the Wizard of Oz, then maybe then. Steve, what are your closing thoughts?
I think you guys summed it up for me. I think again, I think AI is a tool, not a replacement for humankind, to utilize. And I'm going to end with a quote as well, from our other podcast in the
Oh
words of the
no.
great Casey Finn. Tomorrow ain't but 2 days past yesterday, and if you get to your getting, then you can't be nuttin' unless you're something.
Well spoken.
Yeah,
Well spoken.
well foot into this, or you fit into this topic.
That's
I had
perfect.
to shoehorn it in there somehow.
Thank you so much.
We,
Thank you guys, and please join. Oh, sorry, Matthew. Did you say have something else that you wanted to?
I just want to say we didn't even broach the topic of people getting in love, falling in love with AI.
It's not creepy. It's
Uh,
just stupid. Those people are stupid.
yeah, well, yeah, like
For another
I, I,
episode.
I wish we had spent more time shooting on them. Stop doing that, people. All right.
I wanted to talk about the like what I considered kind of spooky, but
Yes,
please
yes.
join
This
us.
was this was terrifying.
Please join us for the next episode, which we will have out much sooner than we did this one from the last one, in which we will talk about a classic kidnapping murder mystery.